Last time on Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Curses, I was careless. I don't know how you didn't notice this giant fucking scar on my face, but whatever, Mr. Edgeworth. Hey guys, Raiden here, and welcome back to Edgeworth Investigations. So, in the last episode, oh my gosh, so much is happening. I'm so happy to have such an involved first case, because if I have to be honest, like the first cases of the first, second, and I'll say even the third, I really didn't enjoy that much. But with Apollo Justice and Edgeworth, they seem to be trying to, or at least Edgeworth 2, they tried to make something very interesting. Anyways, we're getting back to figuring out who killed the, irrelevant bodyguard, I guess. It was kind of a letdown. I thought it was going to be like presidential scale, but nope. It's random bodyguard murder. Also, I have been able to full screen this game now, so it does look a little better. The death of the bodyguard Ethan Rook and the arrival of Shelley the Killer. A new development in this case has come to light. Under Knightley's direction, the door of the president's plane was opened after the paramedics attending Mr. Rook left. We set foot inside the plane, one by one. Oh, Shelley's still here. I did not think Shelley would be here still. I thought he would have just left. But I guess he wants to see this through. Oh my, where would the president be? Who knows? You do, so I'm asking. It seems he's just behind that door. Still a coward, I see. You think he'd just show himself in front of a hitman? Not a chance. Didn't I tell you already? My purpose here is simply to investigate the case. Well then, Mr. Prosecutor, we await your examination of the body. Right. For now I have no choice but to obey and continue the investigation. The rest is up to Detective Gumshoe. I'm counting on you. The attempted assassination of the president became the murder of a bodyguard. It looks like you could use some help, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I don't deny it, but... See exactly. That's the case, and then it can't be helped. Just leave it to the great thief K. Faraday. Right. So, are you saying you can solve this case? Nope! Said with such certainty. Instead, I'll stick to being your support. Right, let's get straight to the investigation. We need to buy some time for the police to prepare. I'll need to draw out this investigation for as long as I can. President's plane office. So, one thing I've actually been really surprised by so far, and I guess we're not that far into the game, so I can't really be like, oh, it's amazing, is the quality of this translation. Like, nothing feels off. All the dialogue feels natural and almost as if it was officially translated. Hell, I've heard that this translation is better than some of the translations for the 3DS games, so I've been particularly impressed, especially since I don't usually check out translated games. And by translated, I mean like fan translations. FE4 is another one that I thought was pretty good, but most of the time I end up being highly disappointed by the awkwardness of the dialogue that comes across. And especially for an Ace Attorney game, dialogue is everything, so the translation has to be good, and thus far it has been really good. Let's go, Kay. To investigation land! I'm okay, just trying to keep up. She's like, Mr. Edgeworth, you're going so fast I can't see you anymore. I won't rest until I've inspected this man's armpits. A gun. It seems the victim also carried a gun. Did he try to shoot something? He may have drawn it out instinctively to return fire. We need to check to see if the gun has fired any bullets. It's still fully loaded. There's no evidence of any shots being fired. This gun is also from Zhang Fa, right? Ah, yeah. We're always issued the same model revolver. Find it weird that you're all being issued revolvers at this point in time. Has Ace Attorney ever actually dated itself? That's something I'm kind of curious about. Like, is there a real, like, 2001, 2010, is there a real date to any time in Ace Attorney? Or is it just X year? Bullet pierced his body, just below his armpit. Unfortunately, he was hit in an area his bulletproof vest didn't cover. Really seems like a well-aimed shot. The cause of death was most likely blood loss, but the bleeding has stopped. Yeah, that's a very difficult shot to get under the arm and in the armpit. Like, specifically. The paramedics were called to treat Mr. Rook, right? I'm afraid they didn't make it in time. This is a bulletproof attaché case, the one from Resident Evil 4. It could carry 1 billion guns. It's a tool the bodyguards use to protect themselves from bullets. I've actually never known that. Wow, how did I not ever hear of this before? I knew they were bulletproof, but I didn't know that's why they were bulletproof, so they could hold it in front of themselves. Neat! Can be seen in Kay's photo. It seems Rook and Knightley both had one. Protects against bullets, both Rook and Knightley possessed one. Oh, that's a seed. Wait, that's a seed I stole on film. You didn't do anything illegal in taking this. Anywhere, anytime, I'm always in the mood to steal. You just wanted to use the word steal, didn't you? Have I been caught? Okay, well, I guess that's all we had to say. Let's look at the rest of the plane, Kay. It's an inflatable lifeboat with an oar sitting on top. It looks like it's ready to be used at any time. Hey! There's only one oar! Well, I guess you could try to paddle with your hands. Oh my god, I had to do that one time. Except it was for like a motorboat that ran out of a motor and I had to get out and push it with my legs. Just like, oh. 2 gas masks lay on the table, ready to protect against poison gas attacks. The president seems to be quite fearful of assassinations. So this is the rumored gas mask. It's my first time seeing a real thing. Rumored. Among the great thieves. No, the Jammin' Ninja. During Princess Viola's wedding ceremony, the poison-tongued ninja Simon Koala, or Koal. I should stop listening to her so seriously. It never seems to pay off. Next to the riot shield, there's a canary in a cage. Oh, it's so cute. I want one to be my partner. Partner? Of course, it can help me open locks and other odd jobs at the crime scene. A great thief should always use nature to our advantage. I've heard of canaries being used to detect poison gas. Don't tell me. Sturdy life preserver rests against the table. It is an essential life-saving tool. I suppose this is a precaution in case someone accidentally falls into the ocean. The ocean, huh? Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, how about we go together sometime? If you want to go, just go by yourself. Aw, don't be such a party pooper. Let's go visit the ocean. Think about the hot dogs and the shaved ice. It'll be delicious. You just want to go to the ocean to eat. Honestly, that's like 90% of the reason for all vacations ever. Like, it's not about where you go, it's about what you eat while you're there. It's not the friends you made along the way. Tried to come up with a rhyme, but I'm not that clever. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. This entire room just seems to be dedicated to presidential protection, not detection. Although I suppose there's security cameras back there. It's a collection of colorful personal security alarms. They all seem to have been used before. The president sure is a nice guy. What? He bought these security alarms to protect his wife and kids. Then why would he leave them all here? It's obvious that they're for his own personal use. Objection! Don't say that word, you know how it triggers me. Hold it! God damn it, Kay. I just imagine every time, like, Edgeworth hears the word objection, he just stares out the plane window longingly. A single person can't carry that many security alarms. Because a person only has 2 hands. That objection is worth 0 points. I've never gotten a 0-point objection. Usually the judge just takes points away from me. That's a heavy-looking vest. The president's clothes must be made from some special fabric. Indeed. It's to protect against bullets. Wow, it even does that? Naturally, this is a bulletproof vest after all. Ah, so that's what it is. This is the first time I've seen one. You could have said something earlier. That really surprised me. What'd you think it was, Kay? He's wearing, like, weighted armor to go on top of a mountain and train. Biggest Piccolo fan ever. Are these some kind of official documents? I know it's a bit rude, but let's take a peek inside. Oh, hey, the positions are switched around on here. And there's also something about undercover agents. Was that on the other one? I don't think so. Let me take a look. Yeah, because on this one, Rook is on the left and Knightley's on the right. And the only thing about the audience is the possibility of a terrorist. In the case of emergency, Knightley will lead the president into the plane. But on this one, it says the president's our top priority. You must be able to repel attack from the lake. Undercover agents keep an eye on the audience. So Wait, does that mean that there's undercover agents in the audience? Or that there's undercover... Well, I guess they're undercover, they would be in the audience, so... Yeah, that makes sense. This seems to be a security plan. Ah, this looks like the one we found earlier in the trash can. Yes, it does. But... what's this? Something seems out of place. Oh, just want me to deduce this? Say that they're wrong? Yes! Glad I caught that. What's this? The details of the security plans were changed. Eh? Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right. It was changed yesterday. President's orders. Why the sudden change? Because 2 days ago, the killer attacked the president. He disguised himself as a bodyguard. Rook was the first to notice. He'd already gotten close to the president. Oh, Shelly. Oh my god, he looks like a badass in that picture. 4 guys doing, or at least pretending to know Kung Fu behind him, ready to stop him. And he's just up there already on Knightley. But it seems like his purpose was to attack Knightley rather than the president. Because if he's fast enough to get up there and attack Knightley before 4 other security guards could even touch him, that means he could have easily probably reached the president, I imagine. But perhaps he was going for Knightley. Rook managed to stop him in the nick of time. Rook grabbed his left arm and twisted it, then fired 1 bullet square into his left arm. What were you doing at that time, Mr. Knightley? I was... If I remember correctly, the first person I took out that day was you. Oops, was that a touchy subject? Shut up. So back then... Oh, that's right, he's like, your neck injury has yet to heal, you've already forgotten. He's like, no, not you, not now. Since that day, I haven't been able to turn my head right, it sucks. To think that I would suffer an injury. Ethan Rook. You could say he was the most capable individual for looking like an absolute nobody, a background character, unlike this man here. What's so different about me and Rook? I believe you're about as different as a pawn and a queen. What? So you remembered Rook's name because he was highly capable? Correct. While disguised as a bodyguard, I happened to hear his name. There was no way I could forget that name. Only a select few have ever been able to injure me. So this was the connection the killer was talking about. The security arrangements were changed, so that the killer would not be able to sneak in as a bodyguard again. Only the president's 2 most trusted subordinates would accompany him on the stage. In short, me and Rook. Security plans data updated in my organizer. It appears your positions were also changed. That's true. He's now on the right side. Because I can't turn my head to the right. My position got changed. To the president's left side. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense, though. If you can't turn your head to the right, why put you in a position where you're blind to half the audience instead of putting you on the left side, which would have given you a view of the entire audience? That logic right there is false. In other words, I was relocated to the right side of the stage. Thank you, buddy. That was very helpful. The international and external views of the plane are being monitored by these monitors. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. What's this? Thing. Oh, that's with the president's precious stuffed animal. I don't really get it, but it's some kind of keepsake. Don't touch it. Precious. That's unexpected. Hey, it kind of looks like there's been a break-in. Indeed. The area where it stands on does look a bit unnatural. Oh, those glass shards underneath the stuffed animal. This unnatural empty space. Perhaps there was another monitor here. Security monitor's data jotted down in my organizer. Okay, what next? Did I miss anything? Oh, that's right, we have a logic button. 6-shot revolver and Rook's gun are the same kind of weapon. Connect! These 2 guns, they're the exact same model. These guns came from Xenoflux. Assassin's revolver data updated in my organizer. Looks like all the bodyguards were provided with guns from Xenoflux. Indeed. Are those guns rare? No, not particularly. They're not easy to obtain domestically, but it isn't impossible either. What? I thought they might be a treasure. Yes. It's unfortunate. Eh? Mr. Edgeworth, are you talking about treasure? Not quite. If it was a rare model, it would have been easier to identify. Even evidence can become treasure. I see. Even during your investigation, you search for treasure. Well, I didn't quite say that. Okay, let's investigate. Where's the treasure? And suddenly she's motivated. The treasure's the friends we made along the way, Mr. Edgeworth, right? What are these finds you speak of? I have not heard of these creatures. Can I prosecute them? Bullet pierced through the bulletproof vest. Two bullets were fired. We know that from the number of gunshots. One hit the steel samurai balloon, the other took Rook's life. But didn't a bullet also hit the president's bulletproof vest? Right. It doesn't match up with the number of shots. However, there is one way to solve this. One way? A bullet that stole Rook's life pierced through his body, and then hit the vest. In other words, Rook and the president were hit by the same bullet. Holy shit, from just a singular revolver? That's some velocity. I see. That's right. It'd be dangerous if he hadn't worn that bulletproof vest. Is the president alright? Even while wearing a bulletproof vest, you can still get injured. Yeah, the bullet's impact can still fracture your bones. But don't worry, he's fine. The president trained himself like no other. Maybe the president didn't even need a bulletproof vest. I think that might be pushing it. I'd like to examine the bullet. There's a chance there may still be a ballistic marking. Ballistic markings? What's that? Ballistic markings are always left on a bullet. Each gun leaves a different marking. So if we examine the ballistic markings, we'll know which gun the bullet was fired from. So you could say they're like a gun's fingerprints. I get it now. Let's investigate right away. I think that'd be difficult. The bullet was completely flattened when it hit the bulletproof vest. There's no way you could investigate the ballistic markings. What? I wanted to investigate them. Bulletproof vest data updated in my organizer. Now then, I've grown weary of this investigation. No, don't get tired. Do you want to watch me juggle? I can juggle. Oh, wow, that's very fancy. You know what? That gets boring after like 10 seconds, though. Back to murder. Still no sign of Detective Gumshoe. Mr. Prosecutor, have you uncovered the truth yet? No, this thing takes time. It's been like 5 minutes. I see. In that case, would you like to speak with someone who was involved in the incident? Someone involved in the incident? You mean... Is there not one more witness just behind those doors? Of course, the president himself. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, please do the honors and summon the witness here. There's no chance in hell I'm letting that happen. You think you can just summon the president? Like a witness in court? Ha! Mr. President, I'm sure you're watching all this through your security cameras. Would you kindly grace us with your presence? That is, if you value your bodyguard's life. Shelly, I don't know what way you think that's going to work. The whole point of his bodyguard is to keep him from dying. Why would he come out to save the bodyguard? That's backwards. I see. Mr. President, what sort of a man leaves another to die on his behalf? Mr. President. Stop it. Take it easy, hey. Still nothing. Come on, Detective Gumshoe. Ah! What? The lights. My apologies, Mr. Prosecutor. But I wouldn't try anything if I were you. It seems like I'm unable to reach the President. Even with Mr. Knightley's life. So stop. Ah! I don't know what she's screaming about. Okay, the killer, you... However, I have already seen the truth. Where is he? Ugh. I leave the rest in your hands, Mr. Prosecutor. I love how he's even wearing a Shelley the Killer jacket. I guess we haven't seen his back until now. But why would he put that on his jacket? Edge. Mr. Edgeworth. Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. March 25th, 4:45 p.m., President's plane office. Did I just pass out? Mr. Edgeworth, thank goodness you're safe. Mr. Edgeworth, are you okay? Okay, what about you? I just woke up myself. My head's throbbing a bit, but it's no big deal. Detective Gumshoe, what happened to Shelley the Killer? Miss Swift came running out of the plane. She told us the killer made a run for it, but... we're all too late, sir. We heard from that bodyguard that the emergency lifeboat over there had been stolen. It's probably at the other side of the lake by now, sir. Didn't you seal off the park? The police were all called back to surround the plane. Right now, there's no one guarding the opposite shore. That means he succeeded in giving us the slip. Sure seems that way, sir. Mr. Prosecutor. Horace Knightley. It seems you also had a narrow escape. Yeah, that sucked. That punk. Come to think of it, you found this near where you fell, sir. This is the killer's calling card. Looks like a message from him. Calling card data jotted down in my organizer. He always leaves this card next to his victim's body. But you're not dead, sir. I am dead inside, Gumshoe, every day. Perhaps this signifies something similar to a killing. Which reminds me, the last thing he said still bothers me. Remember, vanilla ice cream... No, not that one, Gumshoe. However, I have already seen the truth. I leave the rest in your hands, Mr. Prosecutor. I wonder if Shelley actually really likes ice cream as much as he brings on. Seen the truth? What did he mean? Yeah, it's safe now. What was that? The president will be making his entrance now. The president? I don't know what kind of man the president's gonna... Hello, Mr. Pimp Scrimmier. This man is president of Zhangfa, D. Jun Huang. You are. It's an honor to meet you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a prosecutor. I am D. Jun Huang. I have heard of your deeds. You saved my country from a great crisis. Is he referring to the Yacht Grassu case? I was simply solving a murder, nothing more. Such modesty. I have been observing your investigation. An astounding performance, despite allowing the killer to get away. Thank you very much. So he was watching through the security cameras. However, I regret that it ends here. What do you mean? Heed my words, foolish prosecutor. You should have already been informed by Knightley. This investigation will be handed over to the esteemed police force of Zhangfa. So, one thing I'm starting to get a little tired with Edgeworth investigations, and I guess probably just Ace Attorney in general, is the conflict of, no, you can't investigate, it's our investigation now, leave. That happened a lot in the first investigations game, if not almost the whole way through, where it's just like, no, you can't investigate, it's us now. And I feel like that conflict's grown a little stale now. Now that the killer is gone, they intend to take over the investigation. Hey pal, what are you doing? What's with that attitude? It's because it's the killer that Mr. Edgeworth that... Enough! Detective! Mr. President, I cannot agree to this. Why must this investigation be handed over to your country's police? Why, you say? Know your place, puny prosecutor. Must I explain my actions? Nay, I think not. You shall hand over all the evidence you've found so far and leave this plane at once. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, be a good boy and do as you're told. I cannot resist any longer. Seems like the president's hiding something, like there's a reason we can't be here. All the evidence handed over to Knightley. Why? Why won't he allow me to investigate this case any further? Now then, would you kindly take your leave? Knightley, place the suspect under firm restraint. I'm on it, Mr. President. An attempt on my life. The murder of my subordinate. Such evil, such sin. What's with you, or who are you talking to? I am talking to the ceiling. I didn't kill nobody, I swear. Shut your trap, lady. You dare question me, you dare stay in this world with deceit? Should we pardon this sin? Nay, absolutely not. It is most unforgivable. I love how you're talking like you're asking God a question, and then you look back down and you answer it yourself. My reasons being, there's no mistake, he is fucking crazy. If I turn back now, the truth will be lost forever. Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing you can do? Not really, he's the president. There's nothing I can do. I remember the countless times I faced this dilemma in the courtroom. The lies of the witness, the rebuttals of the defense. I did not always have evidence to counter them. Nonetheless, I was still able to draw out the truth from them. That's right. My words alone are my weapons, especially since I don't actually have a gun. Logic time! Oh no. Are we taking him to the chess shadow realm again? Now then, let's analyze the situation. I don't even know how to play chess. Why am I here? Put me back. Leave this place at once. This is a direct order from the president himself. He's not even listening. Any rebuttal I give, he cuts off. When he has that forceful attitude, I'll need to watch the situation carefully. My opponent is the president of Xenoflux. I don't think he'll show any weaknesses easily. His words may be overbearing, but I need not be intimidated. If I observe his behavior closely, I should be able to read his emotions. First, I'll start by asking about his reasons for taking over the investigation. Now let's begin. A good opening line will put me at an advantage. Logic chess, begin! Who's taking over the investigation? Please allow me to confirm something about the investigation. Nay, I don't recall granting you permission to speak. Wait and see. I am the president of Xenoflux. You shall not talk back to me. I am not talking back, I am simply asking for confirmation. This investigation will be taken over by the police of your country, is that correct? Exactly. That is all I will say. Restrain yourself from making any more unnecessary comments. That's enough. Being on this plane is tantamount to being on my country's soil. Do not do as you please. This plane. Is there something significant about this place? I should remember this clue. Explain your reasons. I'd like you to explain your reasons for depriving us of our right to investigate. Impudent fool, hold your tongue. There is no reason. That should be enough of an explanation for you. Perhaps that clue may be useful here. Is it connected to this place? Gathering from what you've said so far, does that forceful attitude of yours have some connection to this place? You insolent. Earlier, you said that being on this plane is like being on your country's soil. From those words, I was able to deduce the answer. Namely, that is, you wish to claim extraterritorial rights inside this plane. Oh my god, not that word. Not that word. So, I know there's probably a few people watching this who haven't watched Edgeworth 1, and first of all, thank you. It must be a little confusing, if not a little confusing, but the end of Edgeworth Investigations 1, that word extraterritorial is the worst thing ever. It drags on the case for a long time. Am I correct? That's enough. I shall brook no insolence. I don't know. He'll probably say something on his own. You have nothing to say. Be gone. You're wasting my time. Seems I should have been a bit more decisive there. Oh, I should have gone in. Should have gone in. You seem unsettled. Your words are forceful, but I cannot overlook them. The moment I mentioned extraterritorial rights, your face grew pale. Ah! Oh, he calmed down a little. In the light of your brazen courage, I shall grant you an answer. That's right. I am claiming extraterritorial rights inside this plane. However, what does that change? You are still powerless. There is nothing you can do about it. I see. Under international law, the plane would be considered part of Xenoflux. How convenient. If he wishes to stake this claim, then I shall question its validity. Yes! Life steal! The next move will decide the outcome. He may be the president, but there's a hole in his logic. Let me break it wide open. Aren't you being too forceful? Is your claim valid? Permit me to say this. Don't you feel that your actions are too forceful? Who asked for your opinion? All you need to do is obey. Forceful is the wrong word. It is authority, leadership. So you arrested Miss Swift because you felt that you had the authority to do so? Yes. The girl is a criminal. There is no room for dispute. You're right, she is a criminal. Wow, just prove him right. I don't think I have much to say. No, there's plenty I could say. Haven't you realized it yet? I have you cornered. Nonsensical. You're just wasting my time with pointless chatter. That was a needless statement. Let's not be intimidated by his words. If I observe his behavior closely, I should be able to read his emotions. Is your claim valid? I guess let's go with that. The challenge the validity of the claim to extraterritorial rights. Do you truly understand what it is you're saying? Of course, and I stand by it. Do you dare doubt my words? You have no shame. Such irredeemable ignorance. It troubles me greatly. There's no need to worry. You do not need to be saved. It is Miss Swift whom I wish to save from these false charges that you have laid against her. I admire your tenacity. However, your wish is unattainable. The extraterritorial laws are unshakable. I can't even say them, they're so grand. This plane is Xenoflux territory. I don't have enough clues to proceed with this line of questioning. Should try another line of attack. I guess let's go back to this one then. Okay, yeah, we already went through this. Let's wait one more time. The shooting took place outside the plane. Only she could have done it. That's it. The shooting occurred outside the plane. This could be a very important clue. Oh, that's what I could use to challenge his rights, because it's a murder on foreign soil, but he's taking it as if it's his own. Is your claim valid? I challenge the validity of your claim to extraterritorial rights. Do you truly understand? Yes, we already went through this. Now it's time to use that clue. The gun came from outside. Indeed, I do not question your extraterritorial rights inside this plane. However, you claim that the shooting took place outside the plane. Yes, if it didn't happen inside the plane, extraterritorial rights do not apply. Your claim has fallen apart. Miss Swift's arrest is invalid. Impossible. To be bested by a mere prosecutor. I am the president. Checkmate, Mr. President. Logic chess complete. Mr. President, will you allow us to continue with our investigation? I yield. I will allow it. My heart is generous. My heart is tolerant and merciful. Therefore, as such, certainly, thus we shall. It is our duty for a most noble cause. Gentlemen, now is the time. I, the president of Xenoflux, for the sake of the investigation. This guy sure likes beating around the bush. Knightley, we have received the president's permission. Would you return our evidence? Here. Knightley returned all of the evidence. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. Indeed. Now we can resume the investigation. It's funny how happy you are just because I gave you your precious pieces back. Now let's see how well you use them. Pay attention then. here is my next move. Mr. President, may I make one more request of you? Would you please testify about the moment of the incident? Testify? Hey, hold on a sec. That's your next move? Isn't that sort of thing you'd leave to the courts? Naturally, it's a courtroom procedure. However, I'd still like to hear what he has to say. If he refuses to cooperate with the investigation, he will have to give a clear reason. But is something wrong? Knightley, stand down. I shall grant the honorable prosecutor's request. Thank you for your cooperation. Now, heed my words, puny human. President's testimony. Where was I when the incident occurred? Oh yes, the stage. Then, Rook and Knightley suddenly appeared and stood in front of me. After that, I heard a gunshot and a red balloon bursting. And so, those two attempted to escort me into the plane. But then, the second gunshot. The bullet pierced through Rook's body and struck my bulletproof vest. Red balloon? That's the case in the President's a victim too, right? It was an assassination attempt. Mr. Rook just happened to get caught up in it, unfortunately. But isn't it strange? Why would the victim want to interrupt the investigation? Of course, if this becomes public, it would cause problems. I see. There's still some deep, dark secret behind this case, right? Certainly the President, and perhaps Knightley too, know of this secret. Without fail, I shall reveal it for all those to see. Where was I when the incident occurred? Oh yes, the stage. I really want to ask him about the balloon thing, because I remember seeing a balloon in the crowd, I think. Maybe. Or at least I thought. Or at least I want to press him on the balloon thing first. A red balloon? You try my patience, prosecutor. It was not my intention. I just want to make sure your recollections are reliable. There were balloons on both sides of the stage, swirling red in the cloudy sky, as laid out in the security plan. The security plans? Ah, the one from the bag. They stepped in front of me just before the balloon burst. They were in the security plan? I didn't see anything about balloons. Oh, it's the huge ones. It's not a tiny balloon, it's those things on the side. Okay. I guess the game probably wants me to show him that it was the steel samurai balloon and not a red one on the side. Gotcha! A red balloon burst. I'm afraid that's not the case. What? Please have a look at this piece of evidence. Can you see what has burst? Why does cheeks puff up like that? But this is... what exactly? It's the Steel Samurai, warrior of Neo-Old Tokyo. You do well to remember it. If you wish to win the support of this nation's people. And don't forget the rival show, the Jammin' Ninja. The balloon that was ruptured by the bullet was no ordinary red balloon. It was a Steel Samurai balloon. But according to the plan, there should have been 2 red balloons. Is this hinting to the fact that that wasn't him actually out there? Or maybe he just never looked to the side. It says so right here in the security plan. Certainly looks like there are only 2 round balloons drawn here. Knightley, what is the meaning of this? Explain it once. Yes, sir. That Steel Samurai balloon was a last-minute replacement. Replacement? That's what we were told. It seems that information didn't quite make it to the President. We ran into a little trouble during the setup last night. One of the balloons that we had prepared burst. So you scrambled to find a replacement? Exactly. We just happened to run into a guy manning a stand in the park. He said he'd lend us the Steel Samurai balloon. He was kind of a poser. A stand, a Steel Samurai balloon, and a poser. You pumped air into his red samurai pants to create a makeshift balloon. Oh, I see. So the Steel Samurai balloon looked just like an ordinary red balloon. Is that what you mean? Knightley, why was I not informed of this? It's really not something you should bother being informed of. Sir, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't think it was important enough to report. Couldn't you tell just by looking at it? I did not notice it. So he mistook the Steel Samurai's pants for an ordinary balloon. Was there a reason why you made that mistake? Oh. What now? A moment, please. I just remembered now. I could not see the balloon very well. You couldn't see it? Exactly. At the time, the wind was strong. The flags on stage were fluttering wildly, and they obstructed my view. The flags? Oh yeah, they moved that way. You couldn't see them. Did you not see the flags that were set up on both sides of the stage? Due to the strong wind, they were waving about, just like this. So a strong wind was blowing at the time of the incident. The flags were fluttering wildly. Is there a problem with that? Is there? Oh, that's right. There is a problem with that. It has to do with the bullet trajectory. Because if the bullet was to pierce that flag, it would have to be facing the other way in order for it to go past. If it was facing the other way, it would have gone past the balloon, most likely. Therefore, yes, there is a problem with that. President Huang, you have my gratitude. Your testimony has helped uncover a new contradiction. A contradiction, you say? Yes, one that turns the very foundation of this case on its head. During my investigation, there was no wind at the crime scene, so the flags remained still. However, the flags were actually fluttering in the strong wind. This completely changes the meaning of that piece of evidence. Which evidence contradicts the state of the crime scene? The Steel Samurai balloon. This is not the evidence, is it? It wants me to show the map. Sorry, I completely forgot. I didn't even present that. I just challenged him. For some reason, I thought I'd already presented the gunshot trajectory. Turns the case on its head. Hey, Edgeworth. Do you even know how to use your pieces? The one that's been taken is yours. Oh, I must have evidence that shows the situation at the time of the incident. First, I need to think back to the president's testimony and compare it. Okay, yeah, I guess the plan would be more appropriate.
Take that!
The gunshot rang out during the president's speech. The bullet struck the balloon and also pierced through the national flag. I had previously deduced the bullet trajectory using these facts. The assassin fired the bullet from the left side of the audience area. However, if the flags were fluttering about like so, my reasoning changes. Since the flag's position was changed... Correct. The bullet's trajectory must also change. And if we trace the trajectory of the bullet, we can tell who fired the shot. But Mr. Edgeworth, that person is... Indeed. I still don't understand why, however, it can be none other than him. And tracing the bullet's trajectory, it's Knightley!
Take that!
The person who shot the balloon was none other than you, Horace Knightley. What? Connect the bullet holes in the balloon and the flag, and the line points to you. How can you not feel hyped up by this music? His pursuit theme for this game, I've listened to it outside of this. It is so good. But that guy's one of the president's bodyguards. Why would he have shot the Steel Samurai balloon, sir? Preposterous. I agree with the detective. There is no reason. Are you saying Knightley, who has saved my life on numerous occasions, is an assassin? Prosecutor Edgeworth, I've headed up to here with you. My job is to protect the president. Knightley, control yourself. Sorry, sir. Prosecutor, indeed, the wind was strong during my speech. However, the wind's strength can change very quickly. Evidence, show us evidence that the flag was flying at that moment of the gunshot. The gunshot occurred at the moment of the president's raised fist to the sky. Present the evidence that shows what that moment is. Do I have something that shows the state of the flag? Yes, I do. K's camera data. The evidence is in this photo. Interesting. And where in this photo exactly? Proof that flag was flying in this photo is right here. Present! Don't you see? The fluttering flag can be seen in this photo. Oh, no. There was no mistaking that the flags were flying at the moment of the incident. So then, it really was that guy who shot the balloon? That would mean Mr. Knightley is the assassin. Horace Knightley is not the assassin. I think I want to say not, because him shooting the balloon does not prove anything. Horace Knightley is not the assassin. The only thing he shot was a balloon, and a balloon on the opposite side of the president. He wasn't aiming at the president. Why then? Why was it necessary for me to do a thing like that? Depending on your answer, I might take aim at your pretty little head. Mr. President, he's threatening me with a gun. I allow this. Well then, I guess that's out of the picture. Why was it necessary? I presume the reason is connected to the one thing that it felt out of place. The one who shot the balloon was the president's bodyguard, Knightley. That fact will change the entire viewpoint of this case. I don't know where. Wait, hold on. Knightley's position. Knightley shot the balloon. Assassination attempt. President was targeted during his speech. This was likely a premeditated crime. Knightley's position. I guess I'll connect these two because they seem to make the most sense. Why was Knightley's position changed? Because I can't turn my head to the right. My position got changed to the president's left side. In other words, I was relocated to the right side of the stage. That makes sense then. Because if he was put over... That still doesn't make sense. No, never mind. Because he can only turn his head to the left. Does that mean they were expecting something to come from that side? Were they expecting an assassin to come from the left side of the stage? For whatever reason? So they specifically put him there? Was that really the reason? If the plans had not changed, Knightley remained on the left side of the stage. Knightley can't turn his head to the right. Would he have been able to aim at the balloon on the left side of the stage? Perhaps. The security plans were altered so that Knightley could shoot the balloon. If that's the case... What's this? The details of the security plan were changed. Yeah, that's right. It was changed yesterday. President's orders. The security plans were changed, but on the president's orders. Assassination attempt and change in security plans. So, did they know it was coming? That's my idea. In other words, the president knew about the balloon being shot. He knew about the attempt on his own life. If you think about it that way, everything that's been out of place is beginning to add up. Why was the assassin able to get a gun past such tight security? Why was the assassin wearing a conspicuous red hood? Why did they use a laser sight that would so easily reveal their location? Why was the president so calm after being shot? This was the truth the president and his subordinates tried to conceal. There can only be one reason why Knightley fired the gun. The entire assassination was a setup. Eh? Huh? How dare you? Do you seriously understand what you're implying with this? Of course I understand. In fact, I now understand everything. Mr. President, you wish to take the investigation rights from me. That was all so you could conceal the truth. How dare you mock me with these spurious allegations. I've never heard that word before. Mock you? That was not my intention. I simply use logic to uncover the truth. That is all. Knightley fired the first shot in order to rupture the balloon. Hearing the gunshot and the sound of the balloon bursting, the audience began to panic. This was followed by one more shot. Wait, one more shot? Yes, Knightley turned towards the balloon and pulled the trigger a second time. The second gunshot was also fired by Knightley, to create the illusion of the second shot hitting the president. So what about the bullet that hit the president's bulletproof vest? What if that bulletproof vest had been prepared in advance? Or what if that was him saying that? Ugh. What's the matter, Mr. President? Afraid of facing a little bullet? That's not true. I was definitely shot. If we examine the bullet in your vest, it would answer the question for us. Will we find Rook's blood on that bullet? But the person in the red hood who shot me is in that photo. Weren't you listening, Mr. President? On the bullet's trajectory, the one who fired the shot must have been Knightley. Then Nicole, she too was part of the President's plan. She was to bear the blame and become a false assassin. The red-hooded figure. This whole thing's a setup? Exactly, I don't know how much of the plan Miss Swift knew beforehand. However, she didn't fire the gun. All she did was aim the laser pointer at the President's head. That's right, Once the crowd began to panic, you would turn your parka inside out, and thus the red-hooded figure vanished. After that, you discarded the gun and security plan in the trash. And the illusion of the assassin vanishing like a ghost was complete. With the assassin gone, the case would go unsolved, pal. Yes, that's what he had hoped for. That's why he wouldn't let Mr. Edgeworth investigate the case. Exactly. All of this was an asinine publicity stunt from a lying president. Oh, that's awesome. The first case in the game and Edgeworth is calling out the presidents. But you, whoa. Is he deflating? Oh my god, he has a beer belly. That's what the president looks like? You are wrong. He looks like a Zelda NPC. He revealed his true form. The assassination is a lie, isn't it? But Chief, why did he have to pick you? This should not have happened. Objection! His objection voice really weird. Like, objection! Well played, Mr. Prosecutor. Knightley. I'm speaking with the president now. Thank you very much. You're a chess player. You know knights always strive to protect their king. So shut up now. Are you threatening me, Mr. Knightley? What's with this guy? Oops, sorry. I went over the top there. But on to business. As my first move, I want to ask you a question. You say I fired a gun on the stage, right? The knight should have been caught. The entire audience was watching me. I see. Now it's my move. You used a certain object to prevent the spectators from seeing you. A certain object. What did Knightley use to prevent the audience from seeing him? What did he use? Was that the steel samurai balloon, or was that the attaché case? I think he used the attaché case from allowing him to see him holding the gun. Is that what we're bringing up?
Take that!
The attaché case. I have to say, normally, most Ace Attorney villains, if this guy even is really a villain, don't really interest me all that much. Knightley is probably one of my favorite animated villains in this game. Like, his animations to his personality to just everything about him is great. He's one of my favorites now. So far, at least. He could turn out to be super disappointing or whatever. Exactly. I'd like you to have a look at this photo Kay took. Your right hand is completely hidden by the case. This photo captures the exact moment you secretly fired the gun. You use the attaché case as a screen. That's what I was thinking the first time I saw that. Like, the very first time I saw that, I'm like, look how weird his other arm is going. He's not even looking at the audience. He's looking, like, off the stage.
Objection!
You seem to enjoy making up a convenient story, Mr. Prosecutor. But you missed something. What have I missed? That everything you've said is just a hypothesis, a theory. Flags flapping in the wind, using the case as a screen. Security plans were modified because I can't move my neck. You've got no decisive evidence. Well, actually, no, the neck thing is true. I'd be like, hey, move your neck to the right, and then you couldn't do it. Yeah, it'd be great if you had the bullet. It would be great if you had the bullet that hit the balloon. Then you could examine it and see if the ballistic markings match my gun. But that bullet's probably at the bottom of the lake. Finding it would be real tough, right? hate to admit it, but it's as he says. There's no decisive evidence. There's no proof. The only thing you can do is shut up, so do so. Who said that? Her? Nicole? Miss Swift. That's it. If she speaks, we could hear new testimony. Hey, lady, you got something to say? Never mind. There we go. I thought so. Nicole! Don't be afraid. The truth will escape if you let that... Wait, the truth will escape if you let that man intimidate you. You're a reporter. A journalist, are you not? I will not remain silent. You better consider your position. Use your head before saying something you'll regret. I forgot the #1 rule of journalism. Journalists must not tell lies. Oh, if only that was the true #1 rule. You can't call it a scoop if it ain't the truth. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm sorry. I've been hiding the whole time. I used this laser pointer to aim at the president. That's all I did. I never fired the gun. You stupid woman! If you testify, you'll be admitting you're an accomplice. I don't care. I'm gonna tell him everything. 3 days ago, I was covering an agent at the Xenoflux embassy. And some of the president's men called me over. They said if I cooperated, I'd get an exclusive interview with the president. And the gun in the trash? I really don't know. All I was told was to come wearing a red hood and to aim the laser pointer. I never thought it would snowball into all of this. I'm really truly sorry. Nicole, thank you. That was a testimony worthy of the courtroom. This is sufficient testimony to verify the fake assassination plot. Damn you, the lot of you. You're all a bunch of mindless morons. It's a shame. If only you had been able to usurp the investigation as planned. You would have been able to silence this young lady. I thought he was actually gonna die for a second. Blast. So tomorrow's headlines now read, Fake assassination plan exposed, becomes a murderer. Right? I can't believe you do something this horrible, pal. I admit nothing. The president? Knightley? That's enough. We have no choice but to admit it. So, Mr. President, you admit that you planned a fake assassination? Yes, I admit it. I'm sorry. But why? Why did you have to do all this? My approval ratings in Xenoflux have fallen. I wanted to appeal to them as a strong president who survived an assassination. But in the end, it was just a lie, a stupid lie. And the bullets in the bulletproof vest? Prepared earlier, it was not fired today. Bulletproof vest data updated in my organizer. But what about Mr. the Killer? It seems our plan was leaked. Someone wanted to make this fake assassination real. That's why the killer wore the red raincoat. He would impersonate the culprit from the plan, in order to approach the president. But there's still one thing I don't understand. What is that? Why did Rook die? His death was not part of this charade, and yet it really happened. Yes, why was his life taken? This also, like, renders the question of, are you sure it's safe to fire a gun through balloons into nowhere? I guess the balloons were facing the lake, so it wasn't too much of an issue since it would have just hit the lake. So I guess it's not a logical flaw in their plan. Ethan was an outstanding bodyguard. Even though he wasn't from my country, he had my utmost respect. I wouldn't think that having the trust of a cowardly president meant that much, honestly. Hey, that's the same sort of bond between me and Mr. Edgeworth, pal. I wouldn't put it that way. Did Rook know of your plan? Not the exact details. I asked him to cooperate, and he refused. You should have listened to his advice. Yes, indeed. I wouldn't have done all this if I had known. You're being too dramatic. What? Rook was just one piece of the president's defense. Knightley! It's not as if he cooperated with your plan as I did. He ran away, taking whatever dignity he had left with him. Good riddance. I know you're a valuable bodyguard, but still. I don't have time for this, sir. I'm the team leader now. There's going to be a lot of changes now that the chicken's gone. After all, adaptation is the most important principle in chess. I knew you always wanted to be the team leader. But isn't this a bit imprudent? I will orchestrate even more perfect plans just like this one. How was this perfect? One person died, the president is now revealed and exposed, and everything's going wrong. You definitely have ambition. But wasn't your perfect plan today a failure? Well, I mean, I'm still here. I'm still alive. That's not a failure. That's a victory in my book. If it weren't for you and that idiot Rook, it would have been perfect. What did Rook do? If he hadn't died, the killer wouldn't have threatened me, and you would have never set foot in this plane. Knightley, how can you say such a thing? Yeah, he died trying to save you, Mr. President. Maybe he fulfilled his lifelong ambition. He died protecting the president. Huh? But the assassination was fake, right? Of course it was, but you need to listen closer, little girl. Remember the guy who wanted to make the fake assassination real? There were 2 gunshots at the time of the incident. The first was, as you said, I shot the balloon. But the second one wasn't me. So who fired the second shot? The real assassin, but it wasn't a killer. He intended to attack the president with a knife, not a gun. The lucky winner was the hidden queen. Or should I say the lady in the coat over there? Eh? Wait, you're accusing her again? You're accusing Nicole, pal? I ain't no assassin. I would love if this comes to the end and it's Mr. Payne. It's like, I was the killer all along. Really, I don't believe you. The gun that was left in the trash. That was yours, right? His eyes are so scary. Knightley's testimony. I shot the balloon and entered the plane with Rook and the president. Rook waited in the cabin while I led the president into the security room. When I came out, Rook was already on the ground. The bullet that lady fired must have hit him while he escorted the president to the plane. The shot was fired from the gun you found in the trash. So you're saying you don't know exactly when the victim was shot? Knight's job isn't to protect the Rook. It's to protect the king. Huh? What's he trying to say is that his job was to protect the president only. It's over if you lose the king. Checkmate. That's the first rule of chess. If you let your pieces get taken away right in front of you, you're not likely to win. But I did win. Look, the president's safe. Don't claim victory when the game has only just begun. I think I already spotted the statement I need to rebuke. Shot the balloon and entered the plane with Rook and the president. Rook waited in the cabinet while I led the president into the security room. When I came out, Rook was already on the ground. The bullet that lady fired must have hit him while we escorted him to the plane. The shot was fired from the gun you found in the trash. That's the one that I don't think is quite right. Because if we look, the assassin's revolver. Found in the trash can, 2 shots have been fired. Same model as... Two shots have been fired, same model as the victims. So that means that both shots were fired from the same gun. And if he fired the first shot, then he also fired the second shot. Is what I'm thinking. So you shot the balloon and Miss Swift shot Rook. Is that really true? I can't see it any other way. The gun we discovered in the trash was fired twice. The number of gunshots don't add up. Why don't the gunshots add up? It's simple. This gun is fake evidence left behind by the real criminal. Fake evidence? Think about it. The criminal planted this for a reason. By finding the gun, we'd assume that the assassin was in the audience. In order to make us believe that the gun was used by the assassin, the gun needed to appear as if it had been fired twice. I get it, because 2 shots were fired during the incident. However, we proved that the bullet... Therefore, I have my doubts as to whether this gun also took Rook's life. The thing I'm not getting about this case right now, though, is if he is the killer, we're sitting in a room, all of us unarmed. All of us. Gumshoe doesn't even carry weapons. unarmed against a guy with a gun. So, even if he does, he would literally just turn around, shoot all of us, and walk off the plane. Here it comes. You're packing some serious heat. Enough with the song and dance. You come this far, go ahead and say it. I won't just say it, I'll prove it. The one who really shot Rook is... Mr. Knightley. I want to say. I really want to say, but I want to think about this for a sec. I'm going to say Knightley, though, because it all adds up with his plan. Horace Knightley, you murdered Rook. You finally said it. Knightley, you couldn't have. The killer wasn't the only one who took advantage of the fake assassination plot. You intended to murder Rook and claim he was a victim of the assassination. Once the president had entered the security room and the door to the plane was closed, only the victim and Knightley could have been left in his room. At that moment, you fired a third bullet, directly at Rook.
Objection!
Objection. Sounds so raspy. A third bullet. Huh. Only 2 gunshots were heard. The numbers don't match up. The plane's walls are soundproof. If the door was closed, the gunshot would not have been heard outside. But wasn't the president in the next room? That's true. The president may have heard the gunshot. Mr. President, did you hear a gunshot? I didn't hear any gunshots. But weren't you watching this room through the security cameras? The cameras in this room aren't usually turned on. I turned on the power after I entered the security room. So you didn't turn on the power immediately after entering the room? No, actually. What is it? He's not being clear. Mr. President, focus. This is vital. I want him to say like he was crying the whole time and he couldn't do it. Please. I was hiding under the bed covering my ears. What? But you knew the assassination was fake. Doesn't matter. I simply hate the sound of guns. Oh, he's a very sweet person on the inside. That terrifying sound, I just can't help it. That definitely ain't going in my article. Knightley, you saw the president hiding under the bed. This case is so amazing. Furthermore, you could tell if the security cameras had been turned on by looking at the monitors. In that moment when the president wouldn't hear the gunshot or see the room, you had a chance to fire a third bullet at Rook. Knightley, did you really? You deceived me. You really think I killed that moron? That's cold, Mr. President. Have a little faith in me, the bodyguard who's risking his life to protect you. I want to believe you, I really do, but... I just don't get it. Why are you suspecting me alone? There's still the possibility that she's the killer. This gun is not the murder weapon. The number of missing bullets makes that clear. Maybe it was one short to begin with. Ever think of that? What? Maybe it had already fired a shot yesterday or the day before. And the second shot was fired today, the one that hit Rook. Well, isn't that just the perfect excuse? Excuse? The possibility exists, you can't deny that. He's right, I can't deny it completely. You need decisive evidence, which you never have, ever. Evidence so decisive that it makes my heart stop and my logic crumble. Do you got something like that? Mr. Edgeworth, can't you do anything? At this rate, Nicole will... Mr. Prosecutor. It's true I did an awful thing for a scoop. But I never killed nobody. I could never do a thing like that. Decisive evidence. If I could prove that the murder weapon was Knightley's gun. Proof it was his gun. Yeah, it'd be great if you had the bullet that hit the balloon. Then you could examine it and see the ballistic markings match my gun. If we can find the bullet that took Rook's life, we can determine which gun fired the shot from the ballistic markings. If you've got no evidence, then we're done talking. Gonna go spin my gun in the bathroom. Hold it! What? I don't seriously have decisive evidence. Naturally. It's a big joke. Well, come on now, show us. What is this so-called evidence? The bullet that took Rook's life. That's the decisive evidence I need. Oh, he swapped his gun out with Rook's, didn't he? I have it. Just thinking about it, Rook is holding a gun, but we never actually examined it. We just said they all have the same model. It was swapped around. I have the bullets, right. Here somewhere. The canary doesn't sing, just shoot it. Or so the saying goes. Just sight hope. I'm gonna blast a hole in you. Right in your chest. Ah. Rook was killed here. So where did the bullet go? Come to think of it, there's one thing in this room that's always felt out of place. Bullet that took Rook's life. I don't have it. Oh, that's what the question was. The bullet that took Rook's life. I thought it was decisive evidence. Do you have it? And I pushed, I have it. That makes more sense. I don't have it. Okay, it's game over, man. However, it is somewhere in this room. What? The bullet that killed Rook pierced through his body. So where did the bullet go? Earlier you explained it like this. The bullet that took Rook's life pierced through his body and then hit the vest. That's right. It'd be dangerous if he hadn't worn that bulletproof vest. However, now that the fake assassination plan has come to light, we now know that the bullet in the bulletproof vest was prepared earlier. So then, where did that bullet go? Interesting, very interesting. Do you have the answer? Do I have evidence that shows the location of the bullet that killed Mr. Rook? Oh, that's right, the security monitors! That's where the bullet is! That's why they put that thing there! It's because the monitor was shot by one of the bullets. I feel like an idiot for not realizing this. Ha! In this room, there is one thing that is clearly missing. Something missing? You sure it's not your brain? I'd like you to look at this rack of security monitors. Oh. I was like, Huang, who's that? It took me a second, like, oh, that's the president. It seems you've noticed, Mr. President. Among these images of the plane's surroundings, only the feed from the right side of the plane is absent. That's what's missing. A single monitor. Mr. President, there was originally a monitor here, wasn't there? That's right. Why is there a stuffed toy now? That must have been put there to hide the empty space where the monitor used to be. Why is the monitor missing and where did it go? Why? Undoubtedly because it was hit by a bullet. In order to make us think that the bullet really hit the bulletproof vest, it would be a problem if another bullet hole was discovered. So then, where did the monitor go? Where? It should be hidden somewhere inside this plane. There hasn't been a chance to dispose of it outside since it was shot. Detective Gumshoe, search this plane. Roger that, sir. That's all I pretty much do anyway. President Huang, you said extraterritorial rights apply to this plane. I will allow it. There is no problem. I just want to know the truth of Rook's death. Damn it. You think this is a joke? You're always like this. Rook's this, Rook that. Detective, we have his approval. Go ahead. Seems so highly jealous of Rook. Mr. Edgeworth, found it, sir. Good work, Detective. Now let's extract the bullet from the monitor. But do this here and then do that. Got it. Well, it's definitely stained with blood. I'm certain this is the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. I don't know why, I'm starting to attach a Mr. to everyone's names, regardless of who they are or their station. Bloody bullet added to the organizer. This is the bullet that will crush your arguments. The decisive evidence that blows a hole in your logic. If the ballistic markings on this bullet do not match the gun found in the audience area, Miss Swift will be cleared of suspicion. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue. Detective, we need to examine the ballistic markings. Send the gun and bullet to the forensics team. Roger. You should be able to find the clear markings on this bullet, sir. So now we just sit here awkwardly staring at each other. Now then, let's listen to the forensics report. Reporting! First, the blood on this bullet matches the victim's blood. So this bullet really did take Rook's life. Also, Horace Knightley's fingerprints were found on this gun. Knightley's fingerprints probably came from when he took all our evidence. The real issue is the ballistic markings. If the markings don't match, Miss Swift will be cleared of the suspicion. And the bullet's ballistic markings match this gun. What? They match? What? No way. There's no mistake. The bullet was fired from this gun. What? Oh, there's a singer spinning his gun rapidly. Huh, that's strange. Looks like I was right after all, naturally. Whoa. Whoa, look at that. Do you really think you have me cornered? I'm not impressed by your gun foolery. You misread the board. Why'd you take it back out? The one who's been cornered is you. Not quite. The ballistic markings match the gun, there could be no doubt. The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the audience area. Who could have used the gun? Not me, because I was on stage. But what about that lady reporter in the audience? All the evidence points to that young lady as the assassin who killed Rook. Well, it's your move, prosecutor. Where did you find this gun again? And which gun fired the bullet? At least we know. It ain't me. This can't be happening. The president and I have admitted to the fake assassination plot. Now it's your turn to admit who the real criminal is. That doesn't make Nicole the criminal. Don't get riled up, Kay. Let him have his say first. After he's done, it won't be too late to begin our counterattack. All right, Mr. Edgeworth. This one I have no clue, honestly. I guess we'll just do what I normally do, just start pressing shit. No, that's...
Objection!
Hey! Did you say it earlier? This is decisive evidence. Well, how's it feel to have a hole blown through your reasoning? The ballistic markings match the gun we found, so... Does that mean Nicole really was the shooter? I'd like to believe otherwise. But he's got the decisive evidence on his side, sir. Indeed. How should I proceed? If Miss Swift isn't the killer, then the ballistic markings should not match. Thoughts, Kay? If the evidence is impossible, then maybe we should doubt the evidence itself, right? Doubt the evidence? Nicole's definitely not a criminal. So if the evidence says that she's a criminal, there must be something wrong with it. You seem awfully sure of yourself. It's a great thief's intuition. Intuition. Still, it's quite possible. Above all, Miss Swift doesn't seem like the type of person to tell such elaborate lies. In court, the evidence is everything. Except for when I change it constantly and be annoying. And yet, here I am doubting it. Which evidence do I doubt? The gun. The bullets. Neither. I'm gonna say the gun. Because the bullets seem surefire. They've already been checked by the forensics team. And neither is not gonna get us anywhere. If anything suspect here, it can only be the gun. The bullet was discovered just a moment ago. It couldn't have been tampered with yet. Did Knightley have a chance to tamper with the gun? You shall hand over all the evidence you've collected so far and leave this plane at once. Hey, Mr. Prosecutor, be a good boy and do as you're told. Oh, wow. Did he fire off the gun or something once we handed it to him? I cannot resist any longer. That's it. He could have tampered with the gun at that time. There's no doubt that this gun is the real murder weapon. In that case, the owner of this gun is... It's actually Ethan Rook, isn't it? Or... No, I guess it would still be Knightley.
Take that!
He must have switched the guns. Without a doubt, this is Knightley's own gun. Knightley's revolver data updated in my organizer. Oh, did he attach the laser pointer to the top of it when he had the evidence? The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the audience. Who could have used the gun? Not me, because I was on stage. What about that lady reporter in the audience? All the evidence points that young lady is the assassin who killed Rook. That's wrong. Ballistic markings match the gun we discovered in the trash can. When did Knightley have the opportunity to touch the gun? It could only have been when I handed over the evidence. Mr. Edgeworth, is there anything we can do? Our reasoning up until now has not been wrong. This is an obstacle we'll have to overcome. But doesn't he have decisive evidence? Testimony born from lies will always contain a contradiction. Firstly, I'll need to press Knightley for more details. The thing is, I know what I have to present, but which one? The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the audience area. Oh, that's obviously the one, because he switched them around. Got you! This is the last piece of evidence. Knightley, you fiend! You switched the guns. I love the way you said that, actually. The gun that matched the ballistic markings was yours all along. Heh. Interesting choice of move you've made there. The switch occurred at the time you seized the evidence, when we were arguing with the president over the investigation rights. Oh wow, he's able to do that behind his back? Behind him? He must be really good. You detached the laser sight from the gun found in the audience area, and attached it to your own gun. Then when you returned the evidence, you gave me your own gun. Did I do that? So what you're saying is that I knew you'd want to examine the ballistic markings. Indeed. Staying one move ahead of your opponent, isn't that fundamental rule of chess? I think we're actually still one step away. I'm glad you feel that way, Mr. Prosecutor, but you're giving me too much credit. Besides, can you even prove I pulled the old switcheroo with the guns? Oh god, there's more. I'm not ready for more. My mind can't take this anymore. Knightley's logic part 2. So the gun happens to be the same model as mine. Pure coincidence. But take a closer look. Only one of them has a laser pointer attached to it. Check the number of bullets left in the chamber. Only 2 shots fired, see? There's no evidence that I switched the guns, right? Actually, there might be. Giving you too much credit, that hardly sounds like something you'd say. Guess I'm just more modest than you. Well, except when I'm in front of a chessboard. But we're not in front of a chessboard. That's too bad. Don't use that as an excuse later. I didn't lose the game. I just couldn't find enough evidence. You're the one who should have an excuse already. You didn't beat me at chess. You only found the evidence. What am I missing? Have something to do with the gun again? Switch the gun found in the audience area matches the bullet's ballistic markings. I don't know. I'll just press all of these because I honestly don't know what to present at this point. Coincidence, you say? Or perhaps it was simply bound to happen. Which was it, pal? Us bodyguards needed to use them to protect the president. And no matter how you slice it, that lady is a total amateur with guns. It was necessary for both of us to use revolvers. A revolver? Like the one Knightley's carrying? Why would it be necessary? It has a simpler mechanism, so it's easier to use. Something along those lines, probably. When you gotta get the job done, or if you're new to this sort of thing, there's nothing better. Truth is, I thought it was pure coincidence all along. Take a closer look, one of them has a laser pointer attached to it. Guess we'll just have to keep pressing. You attached the laser pointer to the gun yourself. Oh yeah? Prove it! Show me the evidence. Well, that's... You can't go around calling people liars without proof. Didn't your daddy teach you that? That is a sore subject. Do not talk about daddy that way. On that point, I've got evidence on my side. Check the number of bullets left in the chamber. Only 2 shots fired, see? Something's been bothering me for a while now. What about the chamber of your own gun? My woman here? Now that you mention it. Spin, 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 spin. I've been firing it off for a while now. Every time he fires, he reloads the gun. So there's no way to check its status from time... Wait, so there's no way to check the status from the time of the incident. That's it. In order to switch the guns, he would have had needed to reload the bullets. Knightley is bare-handed, and he had no time to put on gloves when the switch was made. Well, I think it's about time for you to resign. How about it? Prosecutor Edgeworth. If my line of thinking is correct and I'm not just like a complete nut job in the way it's happening, he would reload it every time, meaning there wouldn't be any shots fired in the real revolver. What do you think of this? Mr. Prosecutor, haven't you forgotten the rules of chess? Oh, I think that was the first statement again. Whoops. Maybe I should present this instead. Gotcha! I feel like I had it perfectly right. Yes, okay, I just presented on the wrong statement. I got you, Knightley. That evidence is this. You call that evidence? Prosecutor Edgeworth, you're trying too hard. Certain traces were left on this gun. Traces that prove this gun belongs to you. Show it to me. What kind of piece you got? A rook, a bishop? Better not be a pawn. The traces of Knightley's left on the gun are ballistic markings, the fingerprints, the bloodstains. Okay, this is going a completely different way than I thought. I guess my original way I thought this was going to go was different. I'm going to say the fingerprints, perhaps, because he would have reloaded it and touched the thing? I don't know. I honestly don't know. You left your fingerprints on this gun.
Objection.
Fingerprints. Ha! That should be expected. I handled the gun earlier when I seized your evidence. Of course my fingerprints are on it. But what if the fingerprints are in the place they should not be? What? That's not possible. Oh, on the bullets in the gun. Allow me to show you. There's one place where your fingerprints should not be. This piece of evidence will deal the final blow to your king. The bullets in the gun. They shouldn't be on them. Here, Detective Gumshoe. Please have a look at this cylinder. 2 shots were fired, sir, but where would the fingerprints be? You made the switch when you seized the evidence earlier. However, if all you did was switch the guns, you would have been found out right away. That's because the number of bullets fired by the 2 guns are different. The gun found in the audience area had fired 2 shots, sir. Then what about Mr. Knightley's gun? He fired 2 shots at the balloon when he was on stage. And later 1 shot to kill Rook. 3 shots in total, not counting the number of shots he fired since then. After each of those times, you would reload the bullets. Tell us, Knightley, were you wearing gloves when you were doing that? Officer, in your approach earlier, where were Knightley's fingerprints found on the gun? Sir, the prints weren't just found on the outside of the gun. They were also found on the bullets as well. Yes, I knew I was along the right line of logic. If all you did was handle the evidence, why would your fingerprints be on the bullets? That's... With this, it has been proven that you switched the guns. The gun which fired the bullet that took the victim's life. It belongs to you, Horace Knightley. You're the one who stole Rook's life. You are the true assassin. I'm... Tisk tisk. Checkmate. I was waiting for that line this whole time. Wait, what is your problem? What is he doing? Oh, that was the first case. I should have been made leader, me. Rook, that piece of scum, if it hadn't been for him, I would have had complete control over everybody. My assassination plan, it was perfect. My plan was perfect. Detective Gumshoe, if you please. Roger that, sir. Edgeworth! This game isn't over yet, you hear me? That's enough. The rest of this game will continue in the courtroom. Damn it. Damn you. It would actually be cool. I was kind of thinking about this as I was, before I even started this video, wouldn't it be cool if there was, like, a Edgeworth cross Phoenix game where, like, you would finish half the case as Edgeworth and then they'd be sent to the courtroom where Phoenix would figure the rest out? That'd be awesome, actually. You have my... Well, I guess Phoenix wouldn't figure it out because he'd be defending someone. You have my gratitude. You exposed a murderer amongst my bodyguards, and for that I am truly in your debt. As soon as he stepped outside the plane, he reverted back to his king-like persona. Some time ago, when I proposed the fake assassination plan. You want me, not Rook? Rook declined, so I'm asking for you. What do you say? Alright, let's do this. I'll come up with a perfect plan. I can even use that guy as a chess piece. When Knightley said that, his eyes were overflowing with hatred towards Rook. Frankly, I was quite anxious about asking Knightley instead of Rook. Now that I recall those events, he'd probably sense the anxiety in my countenance. Perhaps that is what gave him the impetus for murder. Mr. President, if you had not orchestrated that fake plan, this would have not happened. That is your sin. A sin that won't disappear. Yes, you are absolutely correct. You have my sincerest apologies. I too must bear some responsibility for this. Even so, I am most grateful to you. Thank you for solving the mystery of Rook's death. I'm scheduled to stay in this country for a little longer. But if any of you wish to visit the Republic of Xenoflux, you will always be welcome. Oh, Lordy! Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy for you, Nicole. You were set up as the suspect for the murder. Still, your involvement with the fake assassination plan remains a fact. You'll have to submit a police questioning later. You should know that there's still a possibility you may be charged with some crime. Yeah, I know. Sorry about all this. I understand you want to catch a scoop, but there's a line that should not be crossed. I hear you. I promise to reflect on this. We did it, Mr. Edgeworth. That was awesome. Prosecutor Edgeworth solves presidential assassination attempt. It's gonna be big news. Big news? Mr. Prosecutor, would you mind telling us how you feel about solving this case? That was certainly a quick change of attitude. No comment. Don't be so ornery. The reason is because this case is not over yet. Huh? Not over? What do you mean, sir? What shows that this case is not over yet? What shows it's not over? Oh, yeah. The calling card from Shelley. The killer's card. The killer still has carried out his request, or hasn't carried out his request. You mean killing all the president? Or you mean killing the president? I hope that this doesn't turn into a larger incident. An assassination attempt on the president of Xenoflux. News of this incident spread across the entire country. The mass media also hounded me as I began to prepare for the trial of Horace Knightley. Everyone had seen the news, and everyone was talking about it. However, amidst the commotion, nobody noticed that the game had only just begun. Oh, that's the end of the first case. Oh, man. Let me tell you guys, that was a long first case, and I've heard some of the cases in this game get really, really long. So, oh man, I enjoyed that, and I'm very excited to get to more. I'm gonna end this episode here, though. I'm gonna comment on it probably more next episode. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. If you are, please like and leave a comment telling me how you enjoyed this case, I guess. I'm kind of interested to hear that. And if you want to become a member of the Dust Brigade, just click subscribe. See you on the next one. Raiden out.